Hey, what's up guys? Chris with CT Golf Reviews here. Probably one of the last videos of the season. We're here at Sleeping Giant Golf Course in Hamden, Connecticut. Time to get out and play our round. Sleeping Giant is a public 9-hole course here in Hamden, Connecticut. It's a little small. It doesn't really take too long to get through. It's got some great scenery, some really pretty looking holes, I'll be honest with you. And the reason why they call it Sleeping Giant Golf Course is because it runs right next to the base of Sleeping Giant Mountain, which is a landmark in the southern Connecticut area. Get up there. Oh, wow, look at all those golf balls in there. Let's see if there's over here too. Yep. I just took all of that out of my iron. I loosened that too. Sand, man. Well, so far so good. About halfway through the round, and I'm not playing too poorly, actually. The only thing that I've got that's really bothering me, that's affecting my game, is the fact that the greens have been sanded. So I know that there are some courses that do that, but I'm putting on a sandbox. I feel like the greens would be a lot easier if there wasn't so much sand down, but I'm trying to work around it. Otherwise, my shots are surprisingly straight. I don't know what's going on with me today, especially considering the last couple of rounds that I played were hot trash. So, yeah, I'm having fun though. This is a relatively good course, so let's keep going. To answer your question, no, I have no idea where I'm aiming. Just want to give a quick shout out to the Glenwood Drive-In right here. Best onion rings in the state, and there is no question. Well, looks like we're gonna see just how good the sand is. Sand's like a 4. Alright guys, well, we're here at the final hole at Sleeping Giant. I just want to say thanks for watching the video. If you haven't yet, hit subscribe, hit the bell, like the video, let me know, you know, what's your local golf course? Like, where are you, whether you're in the state, whether you're out of state, what's the local course that you go to that you like to play at, you know, just for leisure, just have a good time. Alright guys, that wraps it up for Sleeping Giant Golf Course here in Hamden, Connecticut. Time to get back and do the review. Alright guys, time to review Sleeping Giant, and I must say I played exceptionally well. I don't know why. That's the funny thing, because I had parred the first hole. I kid you not, I thought I was going to get a hole-in-one on the first hole, and I couldn't get it on camera because the way that the tee box was, there were like maybe 5 or 6 feet between the tee box and the bushes that were behind it, and I couldn't get the camera in there. But the ball stopped maybe about 5 feet away. It turns out the greens were not working in my favor, but I'm gonna explain why as I go along. Otherwise, I had a really good time. I loved the guy that I was playing with. His name was also Chris. Shout out if you ever see this video. This is what I do. Hope you like the channel, and hit subscribe. He was a much older gentleman, but we had a really nice conversation, and I think he kind of took my mind off of a lot. I wasn't really, you know, I wasn't thinking about what I had to do, and I was hitting shots a lot straighter. My drives were good. They were actually pretty strong, I'm not gonna lie. And just overall, I was playing fairly decently. I had green in regulation just about every hole. I got 4 pars this game, 4 out of 9 holes. And one of them I thought was a complete and total fluke because, you know, aside from the near hole-in-one that I got on the first hole, I believe it was hole number 6 where I shanked the ball onto the second hole's tee box, and then I was able to get the ball up into the air from the tee box and like maybe 5 or 6 feet away from the edge of the green. We're going to get into the layout first, now that I'm thinking about it, because I do want to say, whoever put the holes in the greens today was either really trying to get on people's nerves or really trying to challenge people, because there were no holes in the center of the greens themselves. They were all either really close to the edge near the front, or they were really far back. And one thing I can say is, when the holes aren't centered in the green, it makes it a lot more difficult to be able to putt them and read them. Fortunately, though, wherever I would hit, the ball would land near the hole. The thing that sucked, though, was the fact that the greens were like sandboxes. Now, you saw in the video the coloration of the greens. They kind of looked like green and brown and almost like tan. That's because there were like literal inches. I'm not exaggerating. There was probably at least 1.5 inches of sand caked into the grass, and you could tell that they just aerated the greens and that they were trying to take care of them. And look, I get it. You know, I know places do that. I've just never seen it so intense. So I really had to map out my putts because the putting green that I was practicing on had no sand. So I had to figure out how I can do this. And I feel like the more I got into the course, the worse it got. Besides that, I like the layout of the course. I like how it's really easy to follow. I like how each individual hole sign has a local business on it. And as I had shown you guys, the Glenwood, which is one of my favorite restaurants here in Connecticut, was mentioned on, I believe it was the 8th hole. The sand wasn't cakey. Even though it just rained, it was surprisingly powdery, I guess you could say. There were rakes available. They seem to have been taken care of very nicely. Their fairways were nice and wide. They were cut really low. The rough had this nice little, like, softness to it almost. So you really didn't have to try too hard to get out of the rough if your ball went into the rough. My only complaint is the greens. I'm gonna say that. Aside from the fact that the holes, they're evenly spaced out between par 3s, par 4s, and there's one par 5, which I parred actually. I'm gonna give the I'm kind of doing this off the top of my head too because I don't have anything written down. I'm gonna give the layout a 6. Scenery, I'm gonna give an 8. I don't know what it is. The foliage got me. The foliage and Sleeping Giant Mountain right there, and the fact that the greens, yes, as hard as they were, as caked as they were, looked gorgeous. And I'm gonna tell you right now, for those of you guys watching this who have never played there, I can tell you as somebody who has played there before, the greens are not always like that. They're usually a lot better. I would compare them to Pomprog. That kind of fast, but not too fast, and they're not too hilly, and they're kind of easy to read. That's how I would compare the greens. The coloration of everything, the layout, the hills that you've got behind the holes, the water that runs through the course. The driving range does not get in the way of any of the scenery. The road is far out enough so that way that doesn't affect the look of the course. You've got the trees that are along the side. You've got what looks like an old farm field that's along the 5th hole, which I can only imagine how many golf balls are out there. It is a very picturesque golf course, and I like the farm sort of theme to it when you start out on the 1st hole. There's like a tractor right there. I thought it looked great. Scenery is going to get an 8. Hit the place in the fall. That's all I'm going to say. That's when it looks the nicest, even though Sleeping Giant does look good during the summertime too. Staff, I'm also going to give an 8. The guy in there was really cool. We had a great chat. I forget his name. I did ask at one point, and I forget what his name is. But I found out that he used to work in my hometown of Ansonia. He used to operate the Kmart that was here, which closed down back in the 80s, and that's when he moved on to, I believe he said that he did Kmart, and then he managed another place, and then he went to the golf course. But, shared some laughs. He was a really cool, he got me out into the course early, even though I kind of got there without a tee time. I was able to book one, was able to putt around for a little bit. Him and I were just chatting. Really cool guy. So, shout out to you. Shout out to the people that were maintaining the course. You did a good job with the exception of the dude running the greens. Again, like I said, they're not always like that. Don't think I'm using that against you guys. I probably just happened to get there on a bad day. So, staff's going to get an 8. Difficulty, I'm going to give a 5. It is not a hard course at all. On a good day, it's relatively easy. The greens, like I said, they're relatively easy. The sand is not in obstructive places, so you're not going to have to struggle to get out of them using long irons or mid irons. You're going to hit them relatively close to the greens. The rough is not bad. There's barely any water to work with, and if you do hit it in the water, I mean, you saw in the video, there's a million golf balls to choose from. Just take a plunger thingy or the hook thingy and choose one and drop it. Otherwise, there's 2 dog legs that are not that difficult, and if you have a slice, then the dog leg on the 6th works for you, or in my case, just, shank it over into the 2nd tee box and kind of do your thing from there. I like the course. I didn't have a hard time playing. I enjoyed myself. Guys, and like I said, I'm also kind of shooting from the hip when I do this. I don't have anything written down. I'm going to give this course a 7.5. I had a great time. Big shout out, like I said in the beginning of the video, to the guy I was playing with, Chris, we had some great conversation. He had some great stories, talking about his old golf partners, talking about what how he used to work at a brokerage in Manhattan. I don't want to give away all of his personal information, but he was a very interesting guy, and I'm really happy I was able to meet him. And I'm really happy I was able to play the course. Guys, I'm Chris with CT Golf Reviews. If you liked the video, you know the deal. Hit the subscribe button, hit the bell. Go and like the video itself. Let me know, what is your home course? Where do you play? Just to have fun, just for leisure, just to, you know, kick back after a long day and shoot 9 holes and not have to worry about anything. Where do you go? I'm Chris with CT Golf Reviews. I'll see you next time.